Hey everybody, welcome back to the North American LCS, and I am pleased to welcome Xpecial from the now 4-2 TSM.
Hi, thanks guys.
Okay. So that game looked really, really good. You had a crazy early aggressive push in the bottom lane. What was that like?
It's something we've been doing in all our games where we would just push up and just dive them with numbers, and it's been working really, really well, and teams seem to not really have an answer for it.
So, I was going to ask you what you think the answer is for that, but I'm not going to make you reveal that because you may have already thought that far ahead. I was mainly surprised by the Tristana pick that Chaox's did, because my understanding usually of Chaox was he finds something he really likes and he just goes with it. And I thought that was Misfortune right now.
One thing we didn't really like with Misfortune is that her ult, her AD scaling her ult went down in this patch.
Okay.
And her damage went down a lot, and without someone like Jarvan or who else? Who's the other one? Xin Zhao, who have armor shred. It's not as much damage as we would like, and he just really wanted to pick Tristana for, I don't know. He's just weird like that.
Why does he like Tristana?
Well, one thing is that her dive is really strong, and that's kind of what we're doing. So
early game dive, just everything.
Exactly. He jumps in, jumps out, usually lives, doesn't always live, and that's kind of what we kind of wanted to do.
So I actually want to ask you a question about the turret dive, sort of mechanically. A lot of players are watching this looking to go pro like you guys are. How do you mechanically make those turret dives work so well? I noticed that you and like Adwan always tank.
Well, obviously you want the one with most armor and most tanky stats to tank. Tarek and Leon work really, really well for this because they have their own base, or their skills give a lot of armor, a lot of MR, etc., and they make the best candidates for tanking. And also, in Runes and Masteries, you really want to go into tank. And so armor and seals, armor in the reds, just really, really well. And knowing how much damage turrets do, and knowing the mechanics of turrets, like they do more damage the more times they hit you. So knowing that, and then just backing out when you're low, that's a big thing.
Great.
So yesterday against Team SoloMid, we were actually interviewing Crumbs and Scar a bit about this. You did get that counter gank in mid lane that gave the double buffs away from the odd one. Do you want to talk about that match a bit? Because I know you obviously took that loss a bit hard and you want to come back big today.
Yeah, against Zingtas, we beat them once, and losing to them here was really upsetting. I was very frustrated after we lost. But the biggest thing, and the only reason why we lost this game was the counter gank mid. It was a huge miscommunication, and it's something that should never have happened. Our game plan was to dive top again, and then again, and again. And instead, we didn't do exactly what we planned. And when you have a game plan and you go in and you don't execute it, that's one of the most frustrating things that can happen. So that gang should not have happened. We knew there was a ward, and just very miscommunication.
So do you guys always have a very strict game plan before you go into every game?
Well, it depends. Sometimes, for example, you can't exactly game plan whether or not they're going to come defend Dragon or something. You're going to have areas where you know exactly what you're going to do. Tower dive, you know exactly what to do. You're going to tell your top, maybe mid to come, and you do it. But some things you can't exactly plan. So the first 10 minutes is usually fairly planned and should happen pretty much as a routine.
So then what was your plan against Martin coming into this game? Just go kill the bottom lane over and over?
Well, that's pretty much what we've been doing this whole tournament. But against Martin, we really didn't prepare that much. I mean, we just watched their game, their first game, and it wasn't really impressive, and we figured we can probably do anything and still win. No offense. They're a new team. I mean, I'm sure they're going to do better this season, but right now, they just need to step it up.
So with the new teams in this league, I mean, we have the top four, bottom four that we talked about a little bit earlier. That is coming a bit true in the first 2 weeks at least. What do you think the step that the lower teams need to take is to get up to the level of the guys who've been here forever, like yourselves and the other ones?
The biggest thing is a stable roster. When you look at Curse, when you look at COG, for the longest time, they weren't doing well. They had a roster change every single month. Like, it's not working. It doesn't work. We've seen this in any game, no matter what. So these two new teams, like GGU, they just swapped their roster again, and Marn, maybe. I hear something that's coming up. So I feel like these roster changes are just not going to work. Find 5 solid players, practice hard. Once people have all their communication, all the synergy set up, don't break it. They need that synergy. That's how a good team should operate.
And you can really see that with the way you guys tower dive. So
right,
that's really good.
Yeah, I mean, TSM has been pretty much the longest team with a stable roster, and it really shows. We know how to communicate, and we know just how each other works, and it's really, really helpful for just team synergy in general.
Well, thank you very much, Xpecial. It's time for our final match of the day.